Yeah, okay, time to live free. Plenty goals I'm achieving. Some real life topics and talking financial freedom. Mindset, soul and love, everything in between. This is Freedom Podcast. Tune in, live free. Hey, got my mindset right and I got the drive. Planning one day, no more job, no more 9 to 5. Love, money, mind. Love, money, mind. This is freedom. Tune in, cause it's going down. Woo!
It's great to have you on the show.
Hello. I'm so excited.
I know, it's been ages since I've been trying to get you for a while. I really wanted to interview you because I know you just are such an inspirational person to me. You're one of those people that we've only met a couple of times actually in the physical world, you know. But every time I do, you just bring this real bright energy and this happy energy into the room. And I know a lot of people that do know you will completely agree with that statement because you are such a, what is the word? I can't even describe the word, just such a unique giver, you know. You are such a giver and just always open to help people and just bring that bright sparkle, presence, energy when you're in the room. So
oh, thank you so much. That's so kind. I always say though, if you're whatever you see in somebody else is actually what you are, and I see that for you as well. So you know, you're always shining and always so helpful. You're such a helpful person and very selfless, I'd say, for you. But yeah, I think what we see in others is often a reflection of what is going on with us as well. So
yeah, maybe true. Yeah, that's good. But yeah, when we went for our remote viewing, that was a fun few days we spent together. And I know we were connected through Jess Cunningham, who has been like a real connector, I think, in my life to some amazing people. But it's just great to get you on here because I know some of your story, but I don't think I know absolutely everything. So what is great about this podcast from my point of view, it never feels like work. It actually feels like I've connected with so many different women globally who I would never have normally met. And it just to me feels like, you know, we're sat in my lounge having a coffee or in a bar having a drink, you know, just chatting and really connecting with people who have got some amazing stories to share. Because I think everybody's got a story to share. Some people's are more traumatic than others, but everybody has a story to share. And I think I say this nearly on every episode. So for the listeners, I apologize, you're hearing it again. But we, as a society, we identify people by what they do. And I think we should identify people by their story. You know, like if we meet someone in a social place, we should actually be like, hey, what's your story? Rather than what do you do? Because what you do shouldn't really identify you, because we all know, I suppose, good and bad doctors, good and bad police officers, good and bad, you know, I think it's just society identifies us for what we do. Whereas actually our journey of life, you really get to know someone on a deeper level. And
there's those human libraries, isn't there? And I love that.
Exactly, it is. Everyone's got a journey that they've been on. Everyone's got experience to share. Everybody's had ups and downs, you know, and it's what's valuable. And I actually interviewed Ruben, he was 10 at the time, I think, because we did it as a bit of a fun thing on the show. I didn't actually think I was going to publish it, but it was interesting from a 10-year-old's perspective, talking about his life so far, actually how wise he was. And we forget, don't we, as we grow up, that we actually knew a lot when we were a child, but sometimes we lose some of that as we get a bit older, or we have more fears that develop, I don't know, from my experiences. So yeah, I always talk about my 3 pillars. And the other reason I put this podcast together was because of my journey. When I was on a real low, I also wanted to hide my story from people, because people knew me as being fairly successful online. And I didn't want to, I thought talking about domestic abuse and domestic violence, it felt shameful at some part of my journey. And I didn't want people to, I didn't want to be branded with it, really. I didn't want to identify with that because it felt like a negative. But then I was holding on to it. And to be honest, the real reason I shared it was just to release it. You know, it secondary, it helps a lot of people by sharing it. But if I'm really honest, it was selfish initially. I just wanted to kind of get that monkey off my back and just release that energy and just be open and speak my truth, to get that weight off me, because I felt like I was pretending to be someone that I wasn't, even though probably that was completely fine at the time. But it was more within me that I just wanted to get it out and just speak my truth. And actually, it was the best thing I did, because it has helped loads of other people. It's made me realize it's not shameful, you know. And I think that's why I put this together. You know, I could have done like an e-commerce podcast, but I put this together because I think by sharing our stories, if people are listening to this, and I know people are listening to this who are going through difficult times, that actually by sharing our stories, it does help them, that there are other people that have had challenges and actually they've got through to the other side, or look at what they're, you know, it's inspirational or motivational for people to hear, and actually it normalizes what they've gone through, because actually there is no normal, is there, in this world? But when you feel like you're the only one that's going through something, and you feel like it's not fair and everyone else in this social media world seems to be all really happy, actually when you hear real stories, you realize that actually everybody has different challenges and different traumas that they go through, and actually you can get through that healing journey. So that was why I put this together. And I know you have a story to share, and you always help so many different people, so it'd be great for you to kind of share a little bit about how you got to this point in your life where you were doing I know you were in mental health for a while, or still are, you know, you've got a lot of knowledge around that subject, but you also do your Moonology and your channeling and your belief coding and your sound healing and all that spiritual stuff. But how did it all come about?
Well, it's like, I'm almost like thinking, oh, where do we start? So basically, it's, you know, when, you know, you talk about freedom and all that, you know, literally, I've always had this real underlying feeling that I felt shackled in life. And I'm going to be really honest about it, because I've never spoke about this actually. So I'm going to let it out now. I'm going to let that monkey off my back, right? And I've always felt, and I even felt it when I was married. So my whole life, I always felt like there was something more. There's something more. I'm meant for something more. And I always used to think, is it a bit egoic of me to sit here and say, I don't feel like I belong in this room. I feel like I belong somewhere where I'm like helping people, but on a big scale. And I'm like, I felt like I wasn't meant to be here in this town. I was meant to be flying all over the world and traveling and doing things. And then I'd sit in rooms and like people would like look at me funny, you know, you say like, oh, I don't think I was meant to have a normal life. Like, and then like, well, some of my friends would be like, I can totally see that for you. Like, I've got a friend who I went to school with. We've been friends since we're 15. And we're 39 now. Our birthdays are 3 days apart. And she's always said, Joanne, in the future, I can see this. You're just going to do big things. I've always known it, because you just weren't meant for this. You're meant for more.
Because I've always had that. So I think it's like whole fitting in thing. When you're in scenarios and you're like, I just don't quite fit here.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I think that's why we've all gelled, because when Jessica's held her rooms, you know, like when we've gone to Believe Code, we're all given that space to shine and be like, yes, you can achieve whatever you want to achieve. You can achieve your dreams. And I think I've never been in a space with women as much. I mean, I've got my friends and they're amazing because they do see all the things in me, all those lovely qualities, and I see them in them. But I think that in a lot of spaces, we don't get that space where, you know, we get a funny look like, who do you think you are, you know?
Yeah, or you're weird, or you're different. I've always been the crazy one in my group, in my friend group, you know, the one that's done some not the normal things sort of thing.
Yeah. But like, you know, you could argue that you're genius, you know, like, it actually, like, us people that are thinking outside the box or being creative people have something going on that is a bit of a genius, like, you know, energy, isn't it? Because we're always thinking of new things and new ways. So we're innovators. And what was really funny, once I started to get into astrology, so growing up in my family life, my mum is very spiritual, my nan is very spiritual. I come from a line of like mediums and psychic women.
Okay, I thought you might say, I had that sense that you did. I had that sense, so I was right in that.
Yeah, so in my family life, it wasn't abnormal for us to be able to, you know, go into that, talk about that quite openly. It wasn't suppressed in me at all. And I actually was in a drowning accident when I was very, very little. And I was actually, like, I came out of my body. I had about a body moment. I must have been about 6 or 7. My mum knows how old I was. I can never remember because I was just tiny. But I fell into the docks where we live, and I was rescued luckily by a lifeguard and his wife, who was actually a nurse. Yeah, so like I was so
giving
lucky.
me like tingles then. You just give me tingles then.
And this was the moment where I came out of my body, and I watched them. They were like banging me on the back because I must have had so much water inside me, and I could actually see myself, all this water coming out of me. And I remember just feeling weightless and feeling so much love and so much bliss and so much happiness. And I just felt like, oh, I don't want to get back in there.
Yeah.
And like literally after that moment, I knew there was something more. I knew, and like I started taking myself to church on my own on a Sunday. Started singing in the choir, you know, like, you can ask my mum, honestly, she will tell you some strange stuff.
That's where the singing started.
Yeah, so started singing in the choir with all these older people. So I had my little robes, and they're all there with the grey hair, and I'm like, they're like giving it all this, you know. And so like really started singing and feeling that connection with a higher power, connection to God and the universe. And I just had this unshakable faith, like, and I've still got it to this day, you know, like I feel blessed to have had that experience because it changed my whole life, even though I hadn't had much of a life to that point. Like, I'd only been little, but like, I know
something happens when you're a child, I think it's more of an impactful thing than when you're an adult.
Yeah. And then it happened again. I had another out of body experience later on, when I was giving birth to my first daughter when I was 18. Came very close to death, and so did she. She had a resus, and I think that it was just always the reminder that I was more than a body. I'm here as a spiritual being in a body, and I knew then. I knew that sense was there, that like I was here to do something. I know I'm here to do something, because they won't keep letting me come back otherwise. Like I didn't have one of these moments though where, you know, when people say like, oh, someone came and told me I needed to come back. I didn't have that. I just knew I had to come back, and that was it. So yeah, I've had some strange experiences with my spiritual life, and I've had a lot of like trauma as well in my life. And but I went in, it was funny because I didn't actually go to university till I was 21. I studied mental health nursing, and I always laugh about this. I went to study mental health nursing to make sure I wasn't mad.
Yeah.
Because I used to think, like, you know, because I'm a medium and a psychic.
I worked for the pharmaceutical industry, which I think you know. It turned me the other way. It made me really holistic with my practice, because I saw behind the curtain, as it were. But I did enjoy there was a moment in time I did really enjoy it. I enjoyed feeling proud at one point of, you know, selling medicines and marketing medicines that were helping people. But then it changed where I thought, this is, you know, anyway, we won't go into that industry. We know what I was going to say. But I always remember I sold a drug that was for anxiety and also pain. It was a pain management drug. And I used to go and see the pain management team and then the orthopedic team. And I also used to go and see the mental health team. I always said the mental health team were all mad. In nearly every, I think, because you're also dealing with, they were always really fun. I don't mean mad. I just mean they were always a little bit I always really enjoyed going, maybe because I'm mad, but I really enjoyed because they were a little bit off the wall, a little bit, and just a little bit more, you know, less corporate than some of the other teams were, if you know what I mean. And I think probably dealing with a lot of difficult patients, you got to be, you know, there were a lot of fun and kind of that kind of stuff. So I can imagine you've had some fun times over the years, as well as some really challenging times, you know.
Well, that's it. That's exactly it, you know. And I always say I'm going to write a book about it one day, like some of the actual challenges, but also the funny parts, because we've had some really funny times, obviously anonymized, but
exactly.
but I think the hardest thing for me, and this was where my life really shifted and changed, and because I'd kept it suppressed, I kept my abilities as a spiritual woman suppressed, and going to work, I felt like I was hiding. I felt like I had to hide who I was. It was almost like I had my Superwoman outfit on underneath me, but nobody knew. So I'd go into like these environments and I'd like know what was happening. Like psychically, I'd be like absorbing everything, thinking, oh, I know that they're not telling me the truth. I know they feel more down than what they're telling me. And, you know, just probing a little bit more, finding, getting down there to those nitty gritty details to make sure I could keep someone safe, or, you know. And then I worked as a health visitor as well. And I was really good at my job. I always listened to my inner guidance and my inner knowing and my intuition, and it really helped me in my career. But the sad thing was, and I don't know if you've watched This Is Going to Hurt, or read the book This Is Going to Hurt by Adam Kay. He's a doctor in the NHS. I watched it on.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I've heard of it, but I've not watched it or read it.
So I watched the series on BBC, and I hadn't read the book. I just watched, and it blew me away because it actually brought a lot of memories back. I only watched it in the last couple of weeks, actually. It brought a lot of memories back of how difficult life was for people, professionals who worked in the NHS. And me, I can only speak for myself, and it's nothing against the NHS or anything like that. I think in the workplace, we all put on a brave face and we push all our own stuff down and we deal with everybody else's stuff. And it's a very challenging environment. And I think for me, it just got too much.
Yeah.
And I ended up having a burnout. I was very, very unwell, and I felt very depressed to the point of feeling suicidal, if I'm going to be really honest. Yeah. And I think people might be able to understand this. I'm not saying it to put everyone on a downer or anything like that, but I think that was when it was the turning point. And I realise now that, you know, like, I don't like that saying things happen for a reason, because I hate it, because I think it really puts, it's like a,
it's just,
you know,
it doesn't feel much depth, does it? The same, but I know,
no,
but things do happen for a reason, don't they?
Yeah, that was
wake us up. I think sometimes it's like your wake up call, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, that was my wake up call, and it was very much like I had to prioritize myself and my health and my mental health for once, and stop giving, because, you know, like you said at the beginning, stop overgiving. You know, we're overgivers. We give everything.
Yeah,
women do, and so I had to learn
boundaries, isn't it? Like the boundaries.
Yeah, take that break. And I took that break from work, and I seriously, I went into therapy, and I really worked on myself. And one of the big things that came through, and this is where, because I work with the goddesses, I work with, this is where I started my journey with the healing power of Mother Mary. Now, people might think this is absolutely crazy, but I'd gone into my therapy, and the lady said to me, so where's your nurturing energy? Like, what would your nurturing energy look like? Your mother figure? And straight away in my mind, I was like, Mother Mary. And it was so funny, because every morning I'd started meditating again. I'd started doing my breath work and going, I've got like a little area, I light a candle and I say my prayers. And I kept getting the feeling that Mother Mary was with me. And when I went to my therapy, I was like, I feel that's what that is. She must be trying to tell me that she's with me and she's trying to help me through this really dark period in my life. And it gave me a lot of solace. It gave me a lot of healing in my heart, you know. And this was when I realized that she was she was like almost like this goddess energy that had come in to look after me and nurture me and love me back to life. And so I literally did. I worked with her energy and let her nurture me. And I imagined because I had this really big, high perfectionistic thing going on, and it was like I never felt good enough. I never felt like I could do anything enough. And I never felt like everything I did at work wasn't good enough. And I had all this, and this was contributing to this anxiety and depression and feeling like I was going to be attacked and, you know, always trying to put everything around me, mitigate risk.
I also think like obviously I haven't worked for the NHS, but when I worked in the pharmaceutical industry, I worked with a lot of people in the NHS. So sometimes I was seen as the enemy, as the drug rep, but sometimes a lot of the like GPs and hospital nurses or doctors became friends. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the time they used to offload to me because I wasn't part of the NHS. When I went to see, you know, as I got to know them, it wasn't about me sort of promoting drugs. It was just like, hi, Anna, and have a coffee. And it was just like, this has happened. You know what I mean? I think there's so many processes, and the legal part has become really, everybody's worried about their backs, aren't they? The litigation and stuff like that. So that sometimes stops people doing the full. Some people are like, I'm going to do the right thing, or what I want to do is the right thing, and this is going to be the right thing. Other people are guided by that and don't throw their all into it. You know what I mean? There's different people that are working in that environment, but also it's so pressured. There's more. I think it's got worse as well, hasn't it? After the pandemic, the pressure.
Well, I left.
Yeah, I know you did. But you know what I mean? Whichever department you worked in, I can imagine just hearing it, because I sometimes felt like I was sort of counselling people in my when we were catching up, because it was just like that offload that I was somebody, an escape person. They could just tell. There was almost like politics going on of different teams, and you know what I mean. Just that whole. It's a very pressured environment, which I think a lot of the general public don't realise, because they see it as like, oh, a service, and always like slagging it off, aren't they? Like, oh, they're not doing the way. You know, there's a lot of good people who are really trying their hardest. There are some rubbishy people in it as well, but there are generally a lot of good people are trying to do their best, and it's like they're against this tidal wave all the time. There isn't enough money and resources, there isn't enough people, and I think it is a very pressurized place to work. You know, that's what it was from my angle. Even though I didn't work in it, I saw that and felt that. You know, so I can imagine, you know, for you being in that, how it. You know, I've not been in it, but I could imagine just from that experience of seeing it from the outside, really.
I felt very much like it. I was always on this high alert.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get out of it. It was just like it was constantly there, and I couldn't. I just felt like I was in fight or flight. And when you're in fight or flight all the time, your body shuts down. It can't do other things. I mean, I used to always be cold. I'd literally walk around in summer in jumpers because my hands and my legs were freezing. No wonder, because I was at work in jumpers and people would say, how I used to go. It was because I felt like I needed to preserve my organs, probably. And like my body's trying to just do its like main thing, keep this warm. And like now my hands are so warm, you know, like you feel the physiological changes in your body when you're not under fight or flight. And I realised once I stepped away and I got that 3 months and I got the chance to work with an amazing therapist and reconnect with my spirituality, my meditation, my breath work, the chanting that I started to do, because I started to do something called Sanskrit chanting. And I got into the moon. I started working with the moon cycles. I've always loved the moon, but I found this, like, I found what was called a Moonology diary, and I was like, oh, what's that, on Amazon? And I thought, I'll buy that. And next thing you know, I got this diary, and I got the book, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like, I love this. And then the lady that created Moonology is called Yasmin Boland. So I then started following Yasmin, and then I went and watched all her lives. I paid to go into all of her courses, and I was like, wow. And my life just really changed. It really, really changed. And I think I had things to look forward to, you know. And like you were saying about writing your story and releasing it. Well, the full moons, I was able to write my story and release it and burn it, and it just was so therapeutic for me. It really did in 3 months. And what I didn't realize though is that burnout can take up to 5 years to recover from. So I'd gone back to work and I started to feel tired again, and it was because I was going back into fight or flight again. So I couldn't regulate myself, even with all the amazing meditation, all the other stuff. And it got me to question. I sat down with myself, what do I want from my one precious life? This is my one precious life. I know I believe in reincarnation, but I'm in this one now. What needs to happen right now? And I was like, my heart and my soul is not in this anymore. I'm going to die. And that was like literally how I felt. Like people would say to me, what about your pension? I was like, I'm not even going to receive that pension. I'm going to die. I'm going to die of something related to stress. Because, you know, when your hair starts falling out and you're so worried about making a mistake, the next thing is going to be something really serious. And I did get a warning from spirit, and I was told that I needed to stop, and I took it. I just thought, you know what, I'm going to take this, I'm doing this, I'm going to. And the funny thing was, because we were, by this point, we're right into lockdown. We'd gone into 2020. So this is like 2 years of like moving on and feeling tired and fatigued. And I'd actually taken another block off work because I was so tired and fatigued. So I'd had all this, you know, knock-on effect. And then I was like, I got a new job and I was walking away from the NHS and I was really excited and became a team manager for mental health in children's mental health. So I started rolling out teams in schools for children's mental health, which was really exciting. It was something new. But even that, like at this point, what happened was, because I put all these wishes out to the universe, like I want to be a spiritual coach, I want to be a published author, I want to be a songwriter, all this stuff. And it was all on this vision board that I made in 2018. And honestly, it's hilarious. It all started to come true. So like literally I carried on with moon stuff, but in that time I'd started picking up other people that were like feeling like me, other women, and I was like, they were, you know, tell me how down they were, they couldn't cope, and I was like, do you want to join a little group? We'll all get together for the moon meetings. So I started with these little moon meetings, started doing mental health, like some compassionate work with them, getting them to speak to themselves nice, bringing that goddess energy, and oh my god, their lives changed as well.
Together, like all your mental health experience and the spiritual Moonology stuff as well. It kind of goes hand in hand. It's not like you're wanting to do something completely different. You know what I mean? It really goes together. It's like synergistically together. You know what I mean?
Oh, honestly, like I couldn't have had a better fit. And the fact of the matter was, it was so crazy because I'd trained in all these approaches in mental health, yet I wasn't applying them to myself.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's for everybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
So like once I did actually apply it to my own life and actually start to bring in my spiritual, reconnect with that spiritual part of myself and own it. And I almost, like I said, it was like coming out of the closet. I had to come out of the closet to everyone and go, hi everyone, I'm a spiritual being. Like I'm loving on meditating under the moon. And like people just were like, oh, I always imagined you'd be like that. And I was like, why didn't I say it sooner? You know, so you know.
Can see stuff. It's funny that you should say about how the stuff that you were doing for other people that you weren't doing for yourself, that are like in your toolbox of stuff that you help other people with. Because I remember like always talking about, you know, making a list of your gratitudes, and I think the word gratitude is overused a bit, isn't it? And it wasn't until I really felt like rock bottom, because I remember my worst, I was going to go to A&E, and just I didn't know why I was going to go to A&E. I was just going to go, take me away. I just was like, take me away. I need, you know, it's like, I need help. You know what I mean? I can't believe, looking back, I remember the feeling and how I felt. It was like, I didn't know my way out of this situation. You know what I mean? And felt really like, you know, suicidal as well. But I remember when I was feeling like that, it was then that I started with the gratitude, like the real gratitude. I started to climb back up, and it was it was literally like I had that massive light bulb moment of, this is what I meant when I was saying all of those things. You know, like you suddenly, all of these things and advice you were giving other people, it was like was coming in, it was like annotate your own advice, and I was like starting to write things down. It was literally just very basic things like I can breathe.
Yeah, I remember that.
And oh, my children are healthy. That was one of my big things, you know. And just it's just mad, isn't it? Like I was constantly talking about, and I think sometimes when we are talking about like gratitude and stuff, people don't realize what we're talking about until you've actually been through something where you really needed gratitude, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know
Well,
what I mean? What I'm trying to say, it's overused a lot, I think.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that was one of the things in the morning that I'd started doing, and that's how I made the magic morning process, because the morning I realized, like, I'd started putting all this, you know, doing my gratitude, and I remember, like you, I literally at one point I was like, what am I going to be grateful for? And I was literally going, I'm grateful for this chair. I was writing things like the chair that I'm sat on, because I couldn't actually, I was like, look around me, like literally look around me, what is around me, and the air that I'm breathing, and like, and I had to just be grateful for, you know, and my children, and then in time what I started to do is close my eyes and I'd be like, see my children, feel that love, bring the love back, and then I'm so grateful for you, I'm so grateful, and all this stuff that had come in and actually saved my life, because it saved my life. And I was like you, I just didn't want to be here anymore. I didn't know why. I just felt like my life was empty, it was meaningless. I didn't feel like I had anybody.
It was like I've lost my soul. That's how I described it. Weird. But yeah, that is rock bottom, isn't it? It's when you have hit rock bottom. The only way is up from there, I think.
Yeah. And that was when I, you know, you make a lot of decisions then, because it's about survival. And if you're in survival a long time, you've got to survive, and you learn how to, you know, what's going to work. How can you carry on?
Yeah, you do.
So,
and you've got to make some decisions to change the status quo, don't you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm trained in NLP, and I mean, I trained in NLP years ago as a student nurse, you know, 2007, and I always remember them saying, if you always did what you always, you know, always did, you always get what you always got. And like, and I was thinking, yeah, I'm just doing the same thing, you know, it's the same shit, different day. Like, that's how it felt. I felt like I was just going round and round in this revolving door of like crap, basically. Sorry for swearing, and it was just like I was expecting something different, and the universe going, you ain't gonna have anything different if you don't like step out, you know, of what your comfort zone, and we are making you uncomfortable. So that was what it was. I felt that I was being made uncomfortable, and from that space I ended up creating something very wonderful. I am now in gratitude for feeling the way I did, because I was able to help other women in lockdown, potentially saved quite a few lives in lockdown through the space that I was able to hold for other people, and help them with the techniques that I'd actually used. I used them. I didn't just know them. I used them, and I knew how they worked. And also then I went on to create like the Magic Morning group, and then all my moon groups, and
your journal.
And then my journal, and that was created at the beginning of this year. Managed to get that out on Amazon, and I've got my little oracle cards that go with it here. So like, and these were all on my list, you know, like one day I will have an oracle deck, and it came true, you know. And I mean, literally everything that I've ever wanted. And sometimes I sit there now. It was a new moon yesterday, and I was sat there, and I only had a few things. I was thinking, come on, Jo, you could put a few more things in here, like as wishes. But I'm like,
I watched your thing last night. I was like, you were like, it starts at 7 o'clock, and I was like, it's 11 now, so I've missed it. But I was like, but it's continuous, isn't it? I was like, it's continuous. That's when it came in. But I was like, I can still start the new moon. So I love your lives when you do all your new moon stuff, and your voice is bloody, I'm going to swear now, bloody amazing. It is so powerful, your voice, so unique as well.
The singing.
Yeah, your voice is absolutely out of this world. I love it, and I'm sure loads of people will agree with me. But when you do your little lives, you know, in the I see it in the CFE group, it's just I always follow yours. I just always follow it because it's good to just be able to pause and take in like the new moon, or you do the new moon, and I don't know all this moonology stuff, but you do the new moon and then you do the like, is it
Full
like
moon.
full moon? Yeah, I was just thinking then the new moon, the full moon, but don't you do like, it's like there's sometimes where it's like the end of a cycle, isn't it? And then the other, it's like the start where we can do our affirmations.
Yeah, I've got it.
Always do my burning notes and putting them outside and nearly causing a fire out the back. Yeah, what's that one? Let's look at that one.
Just like, because you said I do the dark moon,
Oh, yeah,
and that's
you got
the
the
dark
dark
moon
So
journal.
for people that are listening on the audio, if on YouTube you'll be able to see it, but people who are listening on the audio, Jo was just showing us her dark moon journal, and in fact that brings me into like I see you doing all this amazing stuff, and it's really helped me actually in some of the groups where I've, you know, I'm in there free picking up bits and tips, but I know you also have like a paid group. Just tell us everything that you can do for people, because I know people who don't know you could be listening to this and be really curious at all of the Moonology stuff, some of the just all the other good stuff you do, because I know we've been working on your Etsy shop as well. So I know you're building an Etsy shop, you've got journals on Amazon. We'll put all the links in the show notes and in the comments for everybody listening, but just go through all the different things that people can kind of get from you, from all the oracle deck. You've got so many different things.
No, I feel like I'm not actually surrounding myself by these on purpose, you know. I just literally am in my office and this is where all my stuff is. So I use it every day, you see, and really I created this stuff for myself. I was quite selfish when I created my journal, but I knew that my ideal client was me. So if I was making it for me, it was going to be good for other people because they were all wanting the same things as I was. So
exactly.
Yeah. So first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for everything that you've done for me, because you've actually helped me with all these things, the Etsy store and the Amazon, and you've helped me so much. And like, I'm so excited for all the new things that are going to be happening.
I'm really excited for you as well, because I can visualize how it's all going to come together with everything. You know, I see you obviously online sharing different bits and stuff, and I've always got ideas that I just know how that passive side of income is going to build for you, you know. With everything, and it's all going to be then in one place, isn't it? So, and it's just making it's like processes and systems that work for us, with all the good knowledge and help that we can give people, and just making it more available in a simple way for ourselves and then people who we serve, I suppose. So yeah, it's really exciting. So go on, tell us all the things that you've got.
Well, I was just going to say, it came into my mind there. I didn't finish saying about how I ended up just fully in my business, because what ended up happening, I ended up overrun with people wanting to do moon work. And then at the end, I couldn't carry on being a manager. So anyway, that's by the by. But, you know, like, it just goes to show.
Well, you have to change, you have to change strategy, don't you? Because you've got too many people on that. It's like I was doing too many one-to-ones at one point. And then I just changed everything into group programs, because I was getting burnt out doing all these one-to-ones with people. So it's just like we have to, as we get more popular, or like people want our stuff, we've just got to change our systems and processes to help it be easier on us and simpler for the people that we're helping. So
and things gain momentum, so people shouldn't give up hope. You know, if they're starting something new and they're trying to break away from something that's not giving them, you know, if they're not having good mental health and they're wanting to turn the hobby into a career, or, you know, that just not giving up and keeping being, like, the word I love is tenacious. You know, if I can give it, and I know it's hard when you've lost a lot of your energy, but if you're doing something you love and you turn that into a career, it doesn't feel like work. So I just want to put that message out there, because you can change your life and you can be successful. And if you're that person sat in the room thinking, I'm meant for more, you are meant for more. And you should follow your heart and to let yourself you know, do what makes you feel good.
What do you think? Was it the gratitude stuff, or what was it? You know, when you were, because I'm just thinking people are listening to this who could be really stuck right now, because we get in that stuck cycle for a while, don't we? Where we're sort of at rock bottom. We'll get, like you say, we're going round in circles. It's that we don't know another way, and we're just trying, because that's like you're saying, you're going back to work, and you've always doing what you've always got. You're going to get what you've always got. I don't know. It's something like that. You know what I mean? But what would you advise people from your journey of, like, what would be the first step to sort of change it? What, you know, when you're in that stuck moment, what would be a little bit of advice that you would give?
My first piece of advice would be fill your cup up first. And you need to, whatever's going on around us, we need to focus on ourselves, and it's not selfish. We've been taught as women that it's selfish for you. No, book your day at the spa, get your toenails done, take your book, put your headphones in, and have a day off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Take care of yourself, because without you, nothing runs. Your kids don't get to school, they don't get the packed lunches. You know, we need to nourish ourselves.
My freedom in love, you say, my first pillar. Freedom in love, all around self-care, financial freedom, and mindset. Those are the three things that, you know, have given me equilibrium. And I think you're so right. You know, for me, it's like I have this routine. When I wasn't sleeping, I have this bath at the end of an evening, and now if I have a quick shower, I feel like I've cheated myself. You know, if I'm just like, oh, I'm a bit tired, I just want to get in bed. But I love my long bath. You know, I could literally stay in there for like an hour and a half, keep topping up the hot water tap, and just have all the lights off and candles, and just play sort of meditation music, or sometimes I actually listen to you and your Moonology stuff, and it's switching my brain off, winding down for the day. But I was doing that at one point as my real self-care, because I couldn't sleep, and I had all the lavender oils and everything. I was trying to just forget everything that was going on around me, the fire, as it were. And I think self-care is so important. You know,
absolutely. And even if self-care is just lighting a candle for yourself, taking 5 minutes out to journal, that is taking care of yourself, doing what you need to do. I love essential oils. I absolutely adore essential oils. But I can't wait as well. I was going to say to you, me and Jess have just recorded some tracks. Couldn't say my words.
Yeah, you
we
were
just
saying
recorded studio, and I can't wait for you to listen, because you might enjoy those in your bath as well.
I heard you mention that before, and I thought, I wonder what they're for. Are they like just for different? Well, I'm sure Jess will explain what they're for, but are they going to be kind of for meditation, or?
Yeah, and it's got lots of like the Ho'oponopono prayer in there. So there's a bit where I'm singing the Ho'oponopono prayer, and we've got some Sanskrit chanting going on, and lots of beautiful melodic sounds. And I haven't heard the whole thing yet. I'm really excited, but
sounds really
all
good.
that sort of stuff, I was like, you know, that was way out there a long time ago. That would never, in my mind, I was just this nurse who went to work, and you know, at weekends I'd maybe sing on stage with my band. But now life has expanded so much, and I think it's because I'm saying yes to opportunities. And so, you know, I think people, you know, just go for it, because you've got one precious life, and you know, we're here to live it. We're here to live it all.
Yeah, definitely. It's just amazing listening to you with all the different things that you've got and are doing and helping people. But if people are listening to this and like, I really want to connect with Jo, or I really want to get the journal, obviously you've got your Etsy shop that we'll put below, and we'll put your links to all your Amazon journals. I know you're working on other ones as well that you're doing right now, and you're also part of my Ecom Queen book that's going to be out very soon. So there's lots of Jo that you can get access to as regards to sort of downloads and products and all that kind of stuff that we'll put below. But you've also got a group, haven't you?
Yeah, so at the moment my work is on Patreon. I'm using Patreon because I consider myself a creative, and the moon ceremonies that I put together are very much in line with spirit, and you know, they've got singing, they've got chanting, they've got movement, they've got all, I create little booklets to go with them, and like it's all got a theme, and it's just really exciting. So I'm on Patreon now. I do have plans to get my own app. That's next.
Yeah, that'll be good.
I've let that out of the bag. I don't know. But yeah, that's a little secret. I've been looking at an app. So that's going to be exciting. So I'm going to have some courses coming up on there as well, because I want to be able to deliver some online courses. I did do some on Facebook in groups, but I just I want to start having a bit more time, I think, and pre-recording things is easier, I think, now, and just uploading rather than 51 million Facebook groups.
Yeah, exactly. Brilliant. Well, I know that you've got there's a whole world to Jo, and it's a shame that we can't have you singing on here as well, because for people who don't know you, it'd be great for people to hear your voice. Don't know if you want to give us a 5-second voice thing.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, I forgot to say my Instagram handle is.
Yeah, exactly.
I forgot to say that.
Instagram, and we'll put the Instagram and TikTok. You've got your Instagram and TikTok that you put similar-ish content on, don't you?
Yeah, I put on TikTok, it's Joanne Ripley, all one word, on TikTok, and then on my Instagram, it's Soul and Moon Rising Coach, because my company is Soul and Moon Rising. So Soul,
you've got to go and check both those out so you can just hear the power in Jo's voice. If you've never heard Jo before, you have to go. We'll put both links in the show comments or in the comments if you watch on YouTube, but just go over straight after this episode and have a look and follow her, because the power in your voice is amazing. Because I know you also do like singing just generally, don't you?
Yeah.
Out of all of this, as regards in the entertainment space as well. And I know singing is just that's kind of like a self-care moment, isn't it? Because it makes you feel really good. Jacob, who I'm trying to encourage, push, boys kind of get to the point where it's not cool to sing. When he was younger, he loved singing. But when he's in a really good mood, I hear him singing on his own upstairs. And I think, I'm right, you should be a singer, because he's got a really good voice and he just loves singing. I just think singing just really enlightens us, doesn't it?
Yeah, and dancing.
Yeah.
We forget to move our body, and energy moves, and we don't want to get stuck energy. So, movement, singing, anything like that. I thought I'd just the Ho'oponopono that we sang in. I'll sing a little bit of that.
Yeah, go on then. Oh, we're getting spoiled, folks. Come on.
So the tune, because the words are thank you, I love you, please forgive me, I'm sorry, aren't they? Or in whatever order you want. So I can't remember what order I sang them in, but I'll sing the tune.
Yeah, go for it.
Thank you, I love you. Please forgive me. I love you. And it's just got that going on. It's so beautiful. It's all these other harmonic. Oh, it's beautiful. And I can't wait.
Honestly, you've got such a powerful, beautiful voice. I really appreciate you doing that, because you've given people a little teaser to come and find out a little bit more. But honestly, it's like listening to a beautiful angel. I'm like literally lying in the bath sometimes and just like totally relaxed listening to your voice, and that's the power that you've got. So it's an amazing ability or skill or just gift that you have. Honestly, it's beautiful listening to you. So thanks ever so much for doing that. It's been great having you on the show. I know that me and you could chat for another hour. A lot of my episodes are like half an hour. We've done like an hour. So I'm going to wrap things up, but it's been great to have you on the show. For anyone that's listening, you must go and follow Jo on her TikTok and Instagram at least. Go and check out all the stuff that's in the comment section, like her Etsy store and her Amazon journals, and just reach out to her if you want any help or any info about her groups. But at a minimum, you must go and follow her on TikTok, because she's got some amazing little voice clips and just doing about the full moon and the new moon. I know you put something on yesterday that I was looking at, and all the tapping techniques and all that kind of stuff. So go and check Jo's links out. But I always ask everybody this one question, because it's your freedom podcast. What does freedom mean to you? So what does freedom mean to you, Jo?
Well, we always said, me and my best friend, that we would retire before we're 40, which we did. And it is, freedom means me not working for the man.
Oh, love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a unique one. I love it.
That's
Great.
what me and my best friend always say, not working for the man.
Yeah, I love that. That's brilliant. Great stuff. So thanks ever so much for coming on the show and sharing all the goodness that you've shared with us, and also a little snippet of your voice. And just, yeah, I'm just so glad that we connected, and I'm looking forward to doing more stuff within your space and in my space, and just hanging out with you in the future. It's just, you've been a wonderful connection in my world. And I know we were chatting previously about retreats, so let's see, let's watch this space with the ideas that we were talking about. But yeah, it's been great to connect with you, and thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been amazing. I've really enjoyed it. Sorry for taking it off on different tangents.
It's been great. It's been great.
I loved it.
Thanks, Jo.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, thank you for listening. Hope you had a blast. Here to elevate your life. It's the Freedom Podcast. Love, money, mind. Love, money, mind. Wanna see you all win. Wanna see you all shine. Just make sure that you subscribe. Bringing good vibes. Join the Facebook group. Now it's time to change your life. Hope you come back. Right now is the chance. This is an experience. It's the Freedom Podcast. Hey. Hey, thank you for listening. Hope you had a blast. Here to elevate your life. It's the Freedom Podcast. Love, money, mind. Love, money, mind. Wanna see you all win. Wanna see you all shine. Just make sure that you subscribe. Bringing good vibes. Join the Facebook group. Now it's time to change your life. Hope you come back. Right now is the chance. This is an experience. It's the Freedom Podcast. Hey.